In a fiery political confrontation, explosive allegations from a Labour MP came under intense scrutiny after he claimed Chancellor Rachel Reeves is committed to increasing household incomes. However, these assertions faced fierce opposition during the heated debate. Amidst the dramatic exchange, Chief Secretary to the Treasury James Murray maintained that government budgets invariably reflect fiscal realities regarding taxation and public expenditure. Yet with Labour's forthcoming financial announcement on the horizon, GB News presenter Ellie Costello delivered a devastating question that cut straight to the heart of the matter. Are British families bracing themselves for economic turmoil in the run-up to Christmas? Murray's response proved nothing short of shameful deflection and political spin, a transparent attempt to avoid addressing legitimate concerns. It was at this crucial moment that Costello delivered a masterful retort that completely dismantled his position, leaving the Treasury Minister visibly shaken and thoroughly exposing the weakness of his defence. Don't miss this extraordinary clash. Watch the full exchange before it goes viral. Subscribe to our channel, hit the like button, and share your thoughts in the comments section below.
The Chancellor has confirmed for the first time this morning that tax rises and spending cuts are coming in the budget on the 26th of November. It means, doesn't it, that the British people are facing a nightmare before Christmas, many already struggling with the cost of living.
Well, look, I know that people across the country are struggling to make ends meet, and for us as a government, that's why it's so important we do everything we can to bring down inflation and to put more money in people's pockets.
And by taxing them more.
The concept that a budget includes measures in relation to tax and spending is not new. Budgets always reflect on taxation and spending, but what budgets under us also focus on is growth. And we were just talking about growth a second ago in relation to the planning system, because we know that getting greater economic growth in this country is a way to make people better off. And that's why we're so focused on speeding up these planning decisions, getting shovels in the ground, getting infrastructure and homes built, because we know that will make people in every part of the UK have more money in their pockets.
Well, James, it doesn't look as if we're going to have more money in our pockets come Rachel Reeves' budget in November. There you are, you're part of the whole Treasury set up there. It doesn't look good from what she's been saying this morning. You talked about cuts there and taxes, and it looks like she might have to get involved in both.
Well, as I said, budgets always include a reflection of the position on taxation and spending, and for us it also includes growth. And actually on the spending element of what the government is doing, one of my jobs as Chief Secretary to the Treasury is to make sure we keep a tight grip on public spending, that we keep making sure we're making efficiencies, that we're cutting waste, that we're making sure we're spending taxpayers' money wisely and getting value for money for taxpayers. That's one of the things that drives me in this job. I've written to Cabinet colleagues about that to make clear how important that must be to us every day as a government, because we need to make sure we're spending taxpayers' money wisely, and that's a real priority for me and for the rest of the government.
It's a grim picture, though, isn't it? I mean, the headlines this morning: number of jobless hits 4-year high. We're facing the highest inflation in the G7, the worst growth living standards in the West, a black hole of up to 30 billion. And when this is put to the Chancellor, she blames Brexit, she blames austerity, she blames the Tories. Can you admit that any of this mess is the government's fault?
Well, it's also true that the IMF have upgraded our growth forecasts this year. We had the fastest growing economy in the G7 in the first half of this year. But look, we're really clear there's a lot more we need to do. We're really clear there's long-term reasons why our country is in a difficult position, but we're also clear we want to go further and faster to get the economy growing. And to bring it back again to the planning changes I was talking about earlier, getting Britain building is a sure way to boost economic growth and to make people in every part of the country better off.
There are rumours swirling this morning that the Chancellor is rethinking inheritance tax on farms. The speculation is that the threshold for inheritance tax is going to go up. What do you say to that?
No, look, that policy was settled. We announced that at the budget last year. We think the approach that we took was a fair and proportionate approach, where it still allowed owners of assets to have £1 million without being subject to inheritance tax, and then a 50% relief above that level. That was a fair way forward. And look, we're focused on the next budget, not reopening discussions of the past one.
There's also reports in the Telegraph this morning that Rachel Reeves, the Chancellor, is to miss the NATO defence spending targets. This is from the Public Accounts Committee. They say it's sceptical that this commitment to spend 2.6% of GDP on defence by 2027 is affordable. I mean, that's alarming, isn't it, in the dangerous world that we're living in?
Well, the Chancellor has set out exactly how we're going to pay for our defence commitments, and the Prime Minister has made his commitment to that absolutely clear as well. And ultimately, it's the Chancellor who sets the budget, and she will give an update. She'll give her next budget on November the 26th, making sure that we can meet our pledges, making sure that we can meet our fiscal rules, because our fiscal rules are so important to underpinning that economic stability which we brought to office.
Tommy,
excuse me, sir.
So, Tommy, can you tell us what's just happened inside of the court?
We've heard the police's cross-examination, where it turned out that they took 34 seconds to determine I was going to be detained under Terrorism Act. 34 seconds, where they're meant to take time to question you about things. They didn't question me, they just saw my face and automatically made the decision they were going to detain me. That's what's come out under the officer's evidence. What also come out is his reasoning for detaining me was I bought my ticket at the dock and I was driving a friend's car. And then questioned one of the reasons, and it was suspicious, I was driving to the south of Spain. Now, they took 40 minutes to question partner agencies. Nothing come back suspicious against me. Nothing that backed up I should be detained. When questioned, did he check my previous travel? I leave this country every other week. I don't live in the UK. I live in the south of Spain. So that would have determined that nothing I was doing was suspicious. But the police officer had to have a break. He looked like he was about to faint because it came out that he absolutely did not follow his protocol, did not follow the law. This is a total abuse of the legal system. It's an attack against me based on my political view, nothing else. There was no suspicion of terrorism, no suspicion of a crime, simply the fact that I was Tommy Robinson. And I'm now in court for being Tommy Robinson, not for being a terrorist.
Where are we in regards to the trial? So you've had the prosecution.
I think there's another police officer now to be cross-examined, I believe. I believe there's another officer, and then I think we're there. So I'm hoping that this is done this afternoon.
So potentially it's done this afternoon. So you're going for lunch now. What time will you be back?
Starts back at 2. I've got to be back at 10 to 2. But anyone listening to that, anyone who's sat, if anyone's been, I know Ezra's travelled over from Canada doing some brilliant live tweeting, and I'm very grateful for him doing that. It's an absolute farce. The entire case is a farce. How the hell I'm here? If it wasn't for Elon Musk, I'd have another massive bill. The only terrorism that's being committed is financial terrorism, and it's waged against me, because every one of these cases costs tens or 20 or 30 or 50 or even £100,000, yeah? And it shouldn't be happening, it shouldn't be allowed to happen. This is the second time now in 7 months on my last case where it was proven that the police acted unlawfully, detained me unlawfully, arrested me unlawfully, without powers to do so, and give me unlawful bail conditions. That's what happened here last time I was in this court. I hope the same happens again today. But if it does happen today, what the fuck is going to be done about it? Because it's an absolute liberty that this continues to happen. For the last 15 years, I haven't had a peaceful moment where I haven't faced these prosecutions. It's not right, yeah?